So we're in the hot seats. It's hot seat time, and Eileen, you've got a guest with you this time.
I have indeed. So many of you will know, and I'm just going to put the link. I had it there for a minute. I see if it's the right thing. Whether I've copied something different. No, that's the wrong thing. Where's the link? Lindsay can put the link in. As you might know, we're busy. Doing a second version of the PMO service contract catalogue. And we've been asking for volunteers, and we've got lots of people who are working through and developing their service catalogue. So it's a bit of a hand-holding exercise, a big learning opportunity. And then you get somebody who comes along and says, actually, we're on to our second iteration as well and wants to join the project. And so, very pleased to have with us Louise Povey from AWE. So Lindsay's going to have to do magic things to kind of put the spotlight on Louise now.
Yeah.
There we go. I'm sure we can do it. Yes. Can we have two spotlights? Of course you can. There we go. Right then, Louise. So you're on the second iteration. So way ahead of probably most of the people on the call. So how long have you had your service catalogue in for?
So our first version, hopefully you can hear me okay as well, just
Yep.
checking my,
Yep.
perfect. So our first iteration was sort of end of 2022. So not too long away, but long enough. And that was kind of in alignment with that IOC, our initial operating capability, which was March 2023, of when we'd have that PMO sort of stood up in a way, that relaunched, as it were. And that first version was really sort of establishing our scope. I wasn't heavily involved at this point, but I was one of the functions that were brought together. So we brought all of these functions together, and there was a bag of bits that needed analysing. So what were we doing, and what should we be doing? That sort of sense check.
And did you, so actually kind of working through that service catalogue for the first time allowed you to kind of test what your customers thought of your services? It wasn't just a case of writing down what you wanted to offer.
Yes, I think the version that we're doing now is a bit more customer centric and a bit
Okay.
more looking at what the customer needs and that sort of thing. And it gave us that opportunity to kind of what John was saying about that. What are the capability requirements? What is it that we do need to deliver, and where do we need to be?
And was it in a was it in a lovely public? I was looking for it to hear. And was it in a lovely published book, your first one, Louise?
So we did publish it, and we had physical copies in our PMO, in our little pods available for people to have a look at and thumb through. Initially, it was kind of a list, so very, very functional, I'd say. And since then, we've looked at kind of transforming the design of that, making it a bit more, interactive, and making it have the look and feel of a service catalogue a bit more, and organising our service lines by which customer they kind of tap into.
Okay, and so what drove the second edition? Why do you feel as though you need to go back and revisit that and go through the process again? Because we know it's not a 2-minute job. It's not something you sit and do for the last half hour on a Friday afternoon.
Definitely not. So we matured a lot since March 2023. So it was an opportunity we revisited that scope, so redefined it. And some of our service lines came out. We removed them from the catalogue because we didn't feel that they were service lines for customers out there. They were more internally focused to our PMO. And we kind of reworded some of them as well. So it was a scope change, essentially, I suppose, in a way. But it was an opportunity then to get it a bit more consistent in terms of the wording and that sort of thing in the catalogue.
And just for those who perhaps don't know from an AWB perspective, is that enterprise, program, project, or all three PMO?
EPMO, so Enterprise Portfolio Management Office.
All right, so it goes right from kind of dealing with the kind of the dashboarding and senior reporting to kind of pulling out benefits and all of the rest of it. What do you think is the most significant change then from your version 1 of the catalogue to the version 2?
I think that it's customer centric. I think that it's been organized so it's easier to navigate, because you have that front page in terms of, okay, I'm this person and I need this, and you can click on it and you can go to that information of what the benefits are, when would I use it, how am I going to use it, who do I need to get in contact with, and that sort of thing. And there's also we've introduced like a traffic light icon on each service line for availability. And that's pulled from our service maturity tracker, which is a method of how we measure the maturity of our services. So whether it's online and available or not.
Okay, so it's actually you've created it, so it's it can be kind of updated without being a kind of a full republish, so it's kind of updated. And how do you think that's changed the relationship between the delivery teams and the PMO over the last few years?
I think it's helping in terms of clarity, in terms of what we're there to do, and that's what we want to get to, is being that trusted critical friend. So it's trying to change that perspective, I guess, that that's been placed on us before.
So one of the interesting things when we talk about a service-based PMO and having a service catalogue is, oh, that's not customer-centric at all, because people still want to come to us with a kind of, well, but can you just do this? Do you still get those type of requests, and how do you deal with those?
I think we do, and I think it's still. I think as we go on and as we mature and things evolve, things are going to change. We're on version 2. Who knows where we're going to be in a couple of years' time with this? But I think it's that sense check of, okay, we're doing that now, or we're picking that up, but where should it be best placed? And by establishing a kind of an ecosystem with the other PMOs around the business, it's then kind of being able to determine that together as a collaborative approach.
Excellent. So, it goes back to some of the things that Lindsay mentioned before. In more and more organizations now are actually starting to work with other PMOs in their organization. They may not necessarily have, kind of the perfect kind of hierarchy in an organization, but at least there's a recognition around the piece. One of the interesting things you said is, and we've had the same conversation in our service catalogue project, in that there's things that we do that are for ourselves, which we've kind of taken out of the catalogue because it's not a customer service. So I'm interested in terms of, we talk about having a service catalogue, but also some kind of internal work instructions from the PMO. And is that another publication or another kind of document you have internally within your PMO?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we have a kind of a management arrangements, which is an overview of what we're doing and why. And we underpin that with local work instructions. So, for example, when I said about our maturity, for something that's online and available, the steps in order to get to that position would be more of a transformational approach. And how do we manage that accordingly? How do we control it? How do we report it? And then conversely, we've got a lot of service lines that are online and available. Milestones aren't really necessarily the best approach for tracking that anymore, because it's business as usual. So we're looking at introducing KPIs, so, key performance indicators. So yes, so we have a KPI, local work instruction, and also a continuous improvement one as well, where we're kind of trying to adopt that agile approach as well, but leave it flexible, for that autonomy for our service areas, for our teams, really.
And what I find, there's a couple of really interesting points that you talk about, because you're used to kind of just doing it in your organization. But when you're going to be introducing a service, it actually is, as you said, it's a change. It needs some transformation of the organization to actually kind of make that happen, which is, what we talk about in terms of, actually, it's a project to deliver those changes, to introduce a service, to make sure we've got all of those processes in place. So I think that's a really interesting one. But also in terms of this kind of continuous roadmap and improvement. And you talked about setting up KPIs. One of the things we're going to be looking at the conference is this concept of XLAs, which is experience metrics for services. So hopefully you will find that interesting. So how long is your project going to take? Has it got an end date of delivering the service contract, the service catalogue?
The service catalogue, so version 2 is published. It's available,
Okay.
Within our organisation. The service line availability is TBC. As we're maturing, that kind of gets that end date gets firmed up a little bit more. So yeah, we're getting there
as you go through that. So just one final question. So for those of the people on the call who are wondering whether it's worth joining the House of PMO's service catalogue project, how have you found that? I know you've kind of only recently joined. How have you found that?
positive and helpful. I think it's helped widen my perspective of what a service catalogue could look like and be as well. Like I say, it's going to evolve. There's going to be other versions. But it's a great chance to network with others as well in a similar position. And selfishly, it's kind of reassuring to know that we're on the same page, we're not alone on this journey, and also that we're doing the right things. So yeah, it's nice to be able to give something back as well and help out.
Yes, and so you've said all of the right things, so unprompted there. Do you know, we went out, do you know, we went out and asked people to kind of contribute to the project, and we had a number of people who've come and have been there, seen it, done it, but are still finding it a real kind of learning experience. And again, we've got people who've said, actually, this is really good because it's just helping me think wider about what we're doing in our organization. And we have people saying it's great because just, yeah, we've, you know, quietly kind of breathing a sigh of relief because they're doing the right thing in their organization. So thank you very much, Lou, for kind of coming up. So kind of Lou volunteered to do our 10-minute hot seat. If anybody else is interested in doing the hot seat, do get in touch of a subject of your choosing. I have to say, Lou was encouraged because she's kind of the second version of a service catalogue in a PMO is a great thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just taking the steel with zeal to the next level, which is I think AWE should publish it just to a few select PMO people, you know, just so we can give it an external review perhaps. But you know, that would be really lovely. Perhaps you could go away and ask if we can see a bit of it, because that'd be really useful, because I think, you know, it's always nice to see what other people are doing. But yeah, encouraging. Thank you very much. All right.